second half of the program, let's go on to another subject matter. And our guest this time is Mr. Ibrahim Mohammed. Mr. Mohammed is an information technology professional. He's in our Abuja studio. He's, in addition to being an IT professional, he's also a good governance advocate. And he is the founder of 100% Focus, I believe, Focus Movement, 100% Focus Movement, which is all about galvanizing the grassroots across Nigeria to vote for the candidacy of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So a fine morning to you, Mr. Ibrahim Mohammed.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle.
Okay then. Okay, sir. Now, interesting your body there, and its name, 100% Focus Movement. Tell me all about that, please.
100% Focus Movement is a movement formed out of desire to support Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the 2023 election. And the reason why we did that, we are from the northern part of the country, and we believe that good governance should come from any part of the country. And Bola Ahmed Tinubu being our candidate, it's not because he's from the southern part of the country. It's because he is a Nigerian that is willing to rule Nigeria better than what has been ruled before. And we've studied him in the last 30 years, and we realized that leaving him alone doing the work, we've not done justice to what he has to contribute to us as Nigerians. So that's why we now look at Nigeria first, and like any other goal, Nigeria first in any circumstance you find yourself. That we don't care about what we are, who we are, what we are. It's all about Nigeria, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a Nigerian that is ready to serve his country. He has got everything he's looking for in this world. But the only thing
Okay, I understand that we okay, he's back.
it wasn't an easy task for him, and he has been able to reach this stage. So that's why 100% Focus is formed, to support him and go to the grassroots and get people on the wagon that the absolute truth is Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and 100% Focus is right behind him.
Okay, and well, your and the focus that you have is at the grassroots. Tell me, what's the strength, do you think, of your candidate and his party in the grassroots in the northern area, as you started out talking about? Does that need a lot more work, or do you think that it's going to be easy considering what the situation is now? In other words, how do you assess the strength of adoption of your candidate in the grassroots in your area of operation?
Easier, if not for the condition we find ourselves today. Nigeria is doing very well, and all of a sudden we just have a disruption in the entire condition of Nigerians in terms of lack of fuel and also in terms of lack of currency being available. And nevertheless, the condition at the grassroots level, we do know that things have been created to make sure it's hard for our candidates to become the president, the next president of Nigeria. So despite that, we're still campaigning and telling people, nevertheless, all those things, we're ready and is ready. And they should just put this aside them. It's just a few days away from now that once it's been elected, all the situation we find ourselves will be reversed back. So as I'm saying, or I'm talking to you now, it's still strong. You could have seen him yesterday or day before yesterday in Imo State and other places he had gone to. If he's still not strong, you could have been maybe been dealt with by the supporters, say, we're not doing you, we're doing other candidates. But still, the supporters are still saying, yes, we're with you. We understand your problem, and we're with you. In time of need, we'll be with you. When it's time for us, you'll be with us. And now he's with them. Definitely, they will be for him also next week.
Okay, yeah, that's it. I wanted to ask you, since you are close to the ground, as it were, what was your observation of the effect that these challenges are having on your interest area, which is the local governments, and if you want, even maybe rural areas? This lack of currency, this fuel constraints. So actually, the constraints on both sides. Constraints on the currency, constraints on the fuel. How is that affecting especially people in local government councils? As you know, in the urban areas, people are paying exorbitant prices, both for money, Nigerian money, and fuel. What's the experience like in the grassroots?
The experience is supposed to have been worse than we were thinking. But let's take, for instance, Zaria City, for instance, up to Kano. Between Zaria City and Kano, there is any bank, no single bank once you leave Zaria to Kano. There's no single bank. The only bank you see when you get to Kano is Zenith Bank. And from there, you walk for like almost 90 minutes without seeing a single bank until you get to Zaria. So how do the people around that area be living? They've been living without Nigerian banks. They've been living without Nigerian currency. So even if the government is imposing a policy to make sure that it's going to affect certain people because of so-called election or vote buying, it's not going to work in the sense that the people are very adaptive. They will find a way out to see through this hard time. Like I said, it's not easy for them, right? But the thing is, they have been living around this lack of access to bank for longer time, and they have to travel for a longer kilometers to be able to now access to cash. Well, so even if you're implementing this policy, it's going to even affect the people more in the urban area, because these are people that have access to banks and dealing with cash and also dealing with technology. While all those kind of local governments that we have, infrastructure-wise, the internet is not readily available there, and the banks are not even readily available there. And how many people do we have in the north? Almost half of the population of Nigeria, they're all from the northern part of the country. So, and the impact could have been worse than we're thinking. But people are very adaptive because they are happy just a few days away.
I'm afraid, Mr. Mohammed, I'm so sorry. We need to fix some sounds that are distorting what you are saying, and no, that must be disturbing the audience at home as well. Now, you were explaining how things are not as bad as they might have been, considering that the people have not been very close to banks before. That also, what you've just said, was sort of dovetail into what we've heard, that there are a lot of people at the grassroots that actually, they might be incomprehensible to those in the urban areas, that they don't trust the banks, don't use the banks, and so they have their own alternative methods. So I can understand that. But let's move on a bit, because I wanted to come to your main area of competence, and that's information technology. As you recall, in one of the outings of, I was going to bring up the matter of, as soon as we can get him. In the meantime, Ada has called him from Jos. A fine morning to you, madam.
Good morning, Yuri, and your guest there. I'm calling from Jos, Plateau State.
Yes.
Well, 100% focused movement. There's nothing wrong with movement. But all I'm saying is that let all these movements, let them make sure they function according to the ambits of the law, to avoid hitting the polity or destabilizing the electoral process. They should engage on issue-based campaigns as they serve their candidates. There's no need of coercing people or intimidating people, warning them that if they don't vote for their candidate, this and that will happen. We don't need all that. It's a democracy. Then when it comes to the Nylon Road thing, I couldn't get to in the first session. The problem there is that let President Buhari make sure that the CBN, let them make the 200 naira, the old ones they're talking about, available. If they make it available within a week or so, I mean, in the next 4 or 5 days, it will fizzle out. You understand? I'm not interested in the policy, what happened, what went wrong. The thing is that they did not think through it. But for anybody to say that it's a user's policy to reverse this and that, it's not. That's not how to function. You fine-tune things. You move ahead. You understand? I don't believe in he's reversing it. So that would be, if I'm in suicidal, I'm telling you, if he had done that, if he had ahead to the pressure. Let's move ahead as a country. Try and why are banks not there? This idea of saying that they don't have banks, they keep money in their house, it's not the way things should be. We should move ahead. All the same, let's not give up on Nigeria. All that, we get better.
Thank you very much for calling in, Ada from Jos. Ibrahim Mohammed, can you hear us? Well, it looks like we're still working on that. Okay, I can hear you, but for now we're not seeing you. Did you hear our last caller?
Yes, I did.
Okay, excellent. So, did you have any commentary, or maybe I should just go on to the next question, because the one I was going to ask you when something happened, and this goes back to your credentials as an IT professional. In one of the recent outings of the candidate of APC, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he had said that, look, the phenomenon of Yahoo boys, that these could be, translated, converted, trained, whatever, transformed into IT professionals and specialists. I guess you might have an opinion on that. Tell me what you think about that. Since they are as knowledgeable as they are to be using it negatively, using whatever skills they taught themselves negatively, the potential to train them to become useful and positive. Talk to me about that, please.
It's possible to transform the Yahoo boys to central intelligence of finding out how to do the right things, in the sense that they've been out of work, they've not been employed, because the environment is not suitable maybe for hacking, and it's not too suitable for hackers. But once you identify a hacker, what they normally do in advanced countries is consume them and just take them and put them in the right direction and find something for them to do. Nigeria is full of information that we need people that will help us quest for information. So not using them is not too good, because they will still be there, outlaw, not being lawful. So why couldn't we bring them back and train them and now empower them with the technology, even the rightful technology that can assist them? You've been seeing China and America having a battle of you're hacking me and this guy is hacking me. China is hacking America, America is hacking China in terms of intellectual property. And they are also using the same Yahoo boys in the right direction to help the country. So why couldn't we also employ them and find the right thing for them to do, rather than being a predator on our predators on our citizens and innocent citizens that have had their hard-earned money kept in the bank, and the hackers will come and wipe everything and there won't be any trace. And for the fact that the hackers are not part of the banking system, that's also a reason why it's even difficult for them to be traced or for them to be nailed down. But if we do have them within the system, they are also the police. At the end of the day, they will be able to also help us reduce the system of having a lot of Yahoo boys within the economy. And that will help Nigeria go very far away. Because now when you look at the financial sector, the fintech, we're doing pretty well when you look at Paystack, Flutterwave, and other financial institutions coming to implement virtual accounting or virtual financial system. They're even the one holding the country now. And some of these guys working for them could have worked as freelancers and could have worked as hackers at some point, but bringing them under a roof of a good institution. They've been able to create a better technology, better than the so-called 89 or 29 institutions, banks that we have that are not really functioning very well now. If you want to transfer money now today, if you're not using the right technology, if you're using the direct banking technology, it's not going to go anywhere. It will fail, and there won't be any, you won't even find anyone to support you. But if you're using the right fintech technology, let's say Money Point, for instance, or Paystack technology, you get that thing done seamlessly. And these guys are using so unknown guys that we don't use within the economy. So I totally believe that in the future, if we have a government that thinks for the people, all this kind of people, instead of penalizing them, will transform them into useful materials and to make our country great, and also involve in training people to do what is called ethical hacking, not the black hacking that will bring Nigeria down in terms of international acceptance.
Because on the one hand, they are hackers, but on the other hand, they are also scammers. And it's not a Nigerian thing exclusively. This goes on all around the world, the scamming part. They even, as you know, in India, there are whole neighborhoods, offices, wide open offices, you know, with scammers. I don't know that we have that, although from time to time, similar facilities are raided here. But two aspects now. The scammers, those ones are the ones that actually go out and scam. They actually tell false stories and they're unwitting victims on the one hand. But the hacking part of it, I wonder, do we have that kind of a problem where people can actually, through their knowledge of IT, break into essentially open technological padlocks? They're not supposed to be able to have access to websites that are not theirs, but they know how to do that. So, and as you were saying, abroad, in the West, if a guy is very, very bad as this kind of a person, he's often embraced and becomes a security consultant, brings his knowledge to bear to frustrate his former trade. Are those the kind of things that are also possible here?
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible we'll be able to do that. You know, you said you're not sure whether the Yahoo guys are sophisticated in terms of hacking, right?
Yes,
the thing is, it's all about sophistication. Yes, it's about social engineering. You can use the man inside to hack the system. You know, man in the middle, man from the inside. So if you want to hack any system, it's not all about hacking per se. It's about having the right connection, right people. You know, use the man inside and let him tell you what are the things that you can use to hack. And they will now use that, and possibly the guy in charge of security is not well paid. And they will tell you, if we do this, the haste, or if you do this, you will be well paid. And the guy will think twice and release certain username and password. When you go to dark world today, you find out that you can buy username and password of people around the world. And our people in here, the so-called scammers, also use that to make a living out of it. But which we're not proud of, but as we're saying, we can turn them to be a good material. All we need to do is to do a censorship secretly, find them and get them work and let them do something better for the country. Because they are also well-trained citizens of Nigeria. They've gone to school.
So it's a workable plan. The plan of the presidential candidate of your party, it's a workable plan. And it's something that can be looked forward to,
yes,
so that we stop being embarrassed, we begin to be proud of these people. I wish we could. I wish we had a lot more time, because there's so many things I would have loved to talk with you about as an IT expert. I would have liked to talk to you about the e-Naira concept, but we don't have the time. But there'll be other days. So I wanted to thank you, Mr. Ibrahim Mohammed, IT professional, good governance champion, and founder of the 100% Focus movement. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, then.